Good morning. If you guys want seconds, feel free to get up and get some, but I'm going to go ahead and get started, okay?
Yeah.
First thing I want to do, a huge thank you to our veterans. To go on We appreciate you, and I hope you feel appreciated with this honor for you. We also have Todd Latham and Dr. Baird here this morning, because we're going to do some safety pin awards for those of you that've been here. Good job, Baird.
All right, so I thought it'd be nice if we started recognizing those drivers for your service time. So we're going to start with those that have reached their 5-year milestone. If you reach past that, you're going to get your 5, 10, 15 point. We're going to get caught up. Going to get a certificate. You're going to get a nice handshake today. Pat on the back for the great work that you do. But I thought it'd be nice. You see a lot of other people with their pins on. And I thought it'd be nice if at least recognize you with some of the achievements that you've had with your longevity with us. So it was a nice gesture on our part. We've never done that before. So we're going to have Matt announce your names. I'll shake your hand, so will Josie for the business office. Mary's going to give you your pin. We're not going to take them out of the box unless you want to. Some of you have multiple ones, probably easier to carry. And then Dr. Barrett will give you your certificate and we can get your picture with them. And then we'll send your pictures back to the transportation center when we get them printed so that you can have an official photo.
Just like a graduate.
Put them in your bus, do whatever you want.
That's really nice.
Yeah. There you go. And by the way, where are my fellow veterans at? I know one's retired today, right? Think your last day? Raise your hands, let me see who you are. Okay, appreciate your service. Hope you had a nice meal on Saturday. Somebody thanked you and shook your hand and maybe even gave you a hug. All right, you're a hugger. Did we buy that? I didn't know that. That's okay. Nice setup.
No?
Well, we just want Dr. Barrett on there. Oh.
By the bathroom?
Here, we can pull one of the buses behind there, can't we?
With 9 years of service, Steve Lunasek.
Got the whole production here for you. Thank you for your service, appreciate your time, there many more.
With 9 years, Rudy.
Rudy. Hey, thank you very much, appreciate it.
With 9 years, Jackie Morris, but she's on a field trip right now.
On behalf of the Academy and Jackie, I accept her award.
With 9 years, Phil Playa.
Bill? I'd like to say I made breakfast too, but I didn't.
We're probably glad.
I may sign a purchase order. Thank you.
9 years, Dennis Deptula. He's still out on route.
Okay, let's put this inside here.
With 8 years, Mike Stewart, who's also out on route. 8 years, Jim Rimkus.
Thank you, congratulations. Appreciate it.
8 years, Dale Martin. 7 years, Nick Cramp.
These are for your feet.
7 years, Scott Burkett.
Hold on a second.
Oh. 8 years, Donna Kern.
Thank you very much.
7 years, Jeannie Bean. 7 years, Julie Smith.
Wow, that's
There you go, thank
Yeah,
you.
you don't have to shake my hand. You guys, I'll high five you. Fist
6
bump,
years,
yes.
Patty Phillips.
They go on coughing. We don't want to say right
She'll
here.
be out on her own. 6 years, Kathy Stewart. 5 years, Susan Ryan. 5 years, Mike Heine.
Remember last one, she told you that time.
5 years, Serge Gonzalez. And 5 years, Rick Crokin. He's still out on road. All right. With 10 years or more of service, we have Dave Kuykendall with 12 years.
So you get the 5 and the 10, so you get all the bling today.
And Jen Reed with 12 years. He is still out on road. All right, with 15 years or more of service, we have Lewis Ward with 19. Still out on road. Simon Grove with 19. Deb Marks with 19.
There we go.
Sue Ann Tushney with 18. Still out on row. Renee Groom with 18. Bill Pott with 17.
Can we, just acknowledge really quickly, first of all, thank you, Bill,
Yeah.
for your years of service. Today is Bill's last day, so.
I want to leave you with one last one. When I was in college, I took a course in Greek mythology. And unless you've studied Greek mythology, you're not going to be able to really follow me, but I'll help you anyway. There was a character in Greek mythology called Diogenes. And he used to go about his world with a candle looking for the honest man. That was his philosophy. He was looking for an honest man. Not too many people know this, but that's what I've got out of my course. That Diogenes had a brother, a philosopher also. His name was Testicles. And his philosophy in life was to have a ball, okay?
Oh my God, I love this. Oh my God.
Shirley King with 17 years.
Oh my God.
Pamela Decker Nelson with 16 years.
Perfect.
Comes every,
And Tammy Huber with 16 years. All right, 20 years or more. We have Laura Lindu with 22 years. Laura Norton with 21 years. Shirley.
Hi, Shirley. Wait for you. She's right here.
She was 15.
Come down the line.
And with 30 years or more, our longest running one is Leslie Walgamount.
Yay!
32 years.
So just a little token of our appreciation, just to say thank you. So if you're here and you haven't got your 5 years, stick with us, right? We'd love to give you your pin and recognize you the next time you reach that milestone. So every year when you hit one of these, we'll come back out, we'll do something similar, and we'll recognize you for those milestones, 5, 10, 59. So just want to say thank you, appreciate everything you do. If I don't get back here before the holidays, have a great holiday. And we bought some new buses, so that's I'm not gonna tell you the rest of it, because we haven't figured the rest of it out. There's a few things with it, and we haven't figured out the rest of the program, but when we do, maybe I may have to share that with you, and I'm sure I'll be back out about that time. So, again, thank you, we'll let you continue on with today's training, right?
Right, right.
Okay.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for all you do, everybody.
Thank you.
Next year, I'll make a little packet of city tax. How's that?
Now we have birthdays, we've got a lot to celebrate. Serge Gonzalez, Susan Ryan, Bill Pottis tomorrow,
Oh.
Laura Lindu, and Jeremy Beckham.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
All right, so how many of you have been to the hub? We talked about it, we talked a little bit about how to get there. Show of hands. Because it's gonna be important for you to be able to get to the hub. Everything is somewhat transferring over, we're doing it slowly, but, even the safety meetings will be posted on the hub.
Can you do it on your phone or no?
So you can go to the Geneva 304 website, right, and there's a section for staff, and you can go through that way. Probably the easiest way to do it right now.
Sure. Oh. That would be the fastest way.
Yeah. To go, to the Geneva 304 website, and under staff, and then you'll find the hub there. And once you get there, you'll get to this, the home page. You can go under district sites and transportation. And you'll see, this is what we were talking about when we asked the guys for their pictures. This is internal. So we didn't, we obviously we want to be careful putting photos up on the internet. This is completely internal. There's some pictures of our veterans that you can go and see. Landon, I don't know if you see this. See it? Oh, okay. Those that you see up here, something, provide us with pictures, so.
Oh, for Jeremy, that's it.
you also have, driver and monitor resources that you can go to. If you scroll down, you'll see safety meeting. And that's where you're gonna go now to, view the safety meeting. If you can't make either one of them, you can click on it and it's right there. You can also go to school calendars. And we'll have, the important dates are on there. And then each school or district calendar is on there. Okay. If you ever need a quick reference, a huge thank you to Brandy who set this up for us.
Very good, Brandy.
It's kinda nice to have everything in one place that you guys can, view. I did have a driver ask last week, they said that your agreement is no longer on the website, just not, but you can go to the hub in HR. And that's where your agreements, that's where all the agreements are, under HR.
Bill Pot needs to go to HR.
It's a little late.
I
It's so close.
Alright, so we have, the important dates that are out, and Brandy does go through, all of these calendars and updates, every month. Kinda hard to see it here, but there's November, there's December. So, she also sends it out in an email. Every day she sends out an email with updates. And, I know sometimes it's like, oh, here's that email again. But as soon as you don't look at that email is when a driver misses something and they're supposed to be here. So please, always look at the email just to make sure nothing has changed. The office is really good about letting you guys know if a school calls and says, hey, you know what, we're not having school today, or something's happened, you know, they're doing an early dismissal that wasn't planned. They're really good about letting you guys know, but we do always want you guys checking these dates to make sure you know where you're supposed to be. So for example, Thanksgiving, right? Geneva has the whole week off, but not every district and every school does. So there are going to be drivers that should be here, I think all the way through Wednesday, correct, Randy? So some are Monday, Tuesday, some are Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Make sure you know where you're supposed to be, or not be next week. That being said, if your school is not in session, then you don't need to be here. I know there was a little bit of confusion, a few times when a school is not in session on a Friday and we were. And, a driver still thought that they should be here. It doesn't mean we won't ask you to come in and help if we're shorthanded. But if we're not shorthanded, that's your day off for you to take. Okay, that makes sense? Any questions on that? All right, a few reminders. Do not add bus stops to your route. We say it, we say it, we say it, and we still have subs going out en route. And there's stops that are not on the route sheet. You have to come and talk to them. If there is a legitimate safety reason that you think, that stop should be on that route, you have to come and talk to us. You cannot just change it. You also cannot just fold to parent pressure, because they want you here and not here. That's why we tell them all the time, tell them to call the office, we'll handle it. We will take you out of that position of being the bad guy. All you have to do is say, I have to follow the route. You know, I will be disciplined if I'm caught not following the route. And most parents will back off and call us. If you check in at the garage, we need to see you. AM and PM, midday, whenever you are checking in, we need to physically see you. Do you guys know why? Any idea why we have to?
So good enough people for the buses.
Well, we do need to know that you're here, because we are not sitting there watching skyward to see if you have checked in. That would be absolutely ridiculous, right? But we also have rules that we need to make sure that drivers are following. Dress code is one. You have to have the appropriate shoes on. Right? If there's an accident and you're driving in Crocs, you're just leaving the district open for a lawsuit. The other thing would be is, we need to know you're fit for duty. Right? And it's not so much, I think we really have an issue here at all with drugs or alcohol or anything like that. I would say, one of the biggest things we look for is that you're not upset about something. If we have ever pulled a driver from a route, it is because you can just tell something happened, they're upset, and they probably shouldn't be driving the bus. Well, you guys are so dedicated, and you come in anyway, and you say, I know you guys are short-handed, and we'll say, no, nope, we'll figure it out. So that's why we need to see you. We're not just being picky, right? And we love seeing your shiny, smiling faces every morning.
Did everyone have this?
When you're backing out of the garage here, all you have to do is say your name. I've told Kelly, to stop responding at this point. We've been over it and over it and over it. We are not gonna respond to a radio check unless we think there's a problem with the radio and we asked you to do it. Because again, we can't respond to everyone, and we have to respond to north and south, right? Because they're not here. Agree?
Can I just say though, but I mean, I think there are some times when, if I'll get into a bus that I've never been in before, and if I'm going on a field trip that's long, far away or something, but I kinda wanna know if the radio works, so if I do call in for a radio check, I would want a response to say, yes, your radio's working.
So I think we're talking more about every day, right? We have drivers that every day say, call base for a radio check.
Right, but I know, but you just said you had told Kelly to stop responding to radio checks.
In the morning,
But if
in the
yeah.
morning and in the afternoon. And we may need to come up with a code that you're not positive about this radio, and that's why you're doing a radio check. But for the day-to-day,
Right,
we are not going to continue to respond.
You can say, going on a long trip, can my
Can
radio?
you confirm? Yep. You could phrase it differently, can you confirm my radio is working? Any other questions on that? The other thing would be, at north and south, and this is just, it's not a huge problem, but just something I'll bring up, that when you call in and you say that you're here, or you do a radio check, a lot of times Kelly's the only one in the office early, right? So, she's trying to respond to everyone, but she has drivers coming in and checking in. They're asking her questions if they're not sure. Every Sunday she sends out a, sheet for the subs, so they know what they're doing. But they have to check in because it can change overnight. And they need to confirm with Kelly that they're still doing this route. Wait a few minutes, and if you still don't hear her, then call again. But please don't do back to back. It just stresses anyone who's in that office out way more than we need to be stressed out, because we're doing the best we can, trying to respond to, 70 drivers. Make sense? Thank you. I think that's it. I think you're up, Matt.
From the shop.
Yep. So job, and um,
I never learn.
if we want, so we have not come to, found family yet, so we can talk about
No.
that as well.
I've reached out, cause every year we do the Christmas family, but I have not gotten a response yet to if we have a family to sponsor this year. So I'm trying to get that as soon as possible, cause I know a lot of people like to go out over Thanksgiving break and start their Christmas shopping, so.
We're working on it.
Working on it. Stuff from the shop. Our buses are going on their 6th year in service. They're getting older, which means there's more noises than you guys are used to. You're gonna have more creaking noises, more rattling as stuff is getting loose over the years. And we've got drum brakes and you're gonna hear thunking from the brakes. It's just, it's old age. There's nothing wrong with writing it up, but you don't need to write it up every day. You may, and I know it's not everybody's favorite thing to hear, but you may get a response back that there is nothing wrong with the bus. It's just old age. It happens. It's the same with your personal cars as you drive them. They get different noises and sometimes they're something and sometimes they're absolutely nothing. Window alarms. I know there's a lot of buses that their window alarms are, as you drive down the bumpy roads, they're loosening up, they're going off. You don't need to call them in constantly. Jeremy has a, unfortunately, large stack of write-ups that all say the window alarms, and he's getting to them as quick as he can. But now with Jacob gone, we've only got one mechanic trying to get to him as best he can.
How can we help Jeremy?
With the window alarms?
Anything.
Don't break stuff.
Is
But
there a,
isn't there something we can
is
do to
there a
help
fix?
him that, you know, like doesn't put us at risk, but obviously we're not gonna go in there and stand over there. and pull. But aren't there small things that we can do to lighten his load?
Really, the only thing that you guys could do to lighten the load would be doing your own fluid checks. Which I know not everybody probably wants to do. That would take a chunk out of his day, but that is realistically the only thing. Cause you guys can't do the oil changes or don't have the tools necessarily to change the light bulbs or whatever.
You need a special license to do that,
To
be a
do,
mechanic?
to be
Or
a
should I
mechanic?
ask anybody that I know that's a mechanic to come in and help?
No, anybody with experience.
Experience, okay. You don't need a special bus clearance.
I mean, any mechanic is going to be asked to go get a CDL,
Right.
just like, you guys all have and stuff like that. We prefer somebody with some kind of experience,
Okay,
but no special mechanic's license.
okay.
The GPS lights on your guys' camera things, a lot of people have written up that the blue light goes out as they're driving and then it comes back. It is run off of cellular data, which means it's just like your cell phone and you can drive into dead spots. That blue light's gonna go out. So, if it's going in and out and comes back, it's probably because you're losing signal wherever you're at and then it comes back. Write-ups. I know it's been a long-standing complaint that you guys don't hear anything about your buses. And if the write-up's been completed, if it's been looked at, in progress, whatever. What we've started to do is Jeremy makes a note on them, either done, looked at, what it needs, parts ordered, whatever. And we scan and send them to you, so you will get an email with a copy of your write-up
Oh, that's good.
that has a note on it. So you do not need to keep writing up the same issue every day. You will get something probably within a couple of days of turning it in as to what the progress is of it. If you do fill out a write-up and say you got into one bus, there was a problem, you swapped your buses, you got into another one, please don't write up both buses on the same sheet. I file all of them and now I've gotta make copies of stuff and wasting extra paper. Please just write them on separate sheets. Oil changes, when your oil change light comes on, That is at 25% per what the manufacturer thinks based on driving habits. So when that light comes on, you don't need to write it up again the next day. It's not because you're in a dire need of an oil change right this second. It is because you are coming due for an oil change and you'll get put in line based on what everybody's oil life is at. We try to get them by the time before you guys hit 0%, but even if you hit 0, it is not gonna kill your bus to go just throwing another 1,000 miles past it. It is not going to hurt the engine. They all use synthetic oil and that can last a lot longer than what the manufacturer puts in there. They set those numbers as a precaution to try and keep people from breaking things. Any questions on anything from the shop? Or any questions for the shop? All right. Then we are going to go over danger zones and mirrors. And no, before anybody says anything, we are not going to go over everybody's favorite video from the 1980s.
Railroad crossing.
Alright. So we go over this each year, making sure you guys know your danger zones and set your mirrors. You guys need to adjust your mirrors to make sure that you can see all of the danger zones. What's the one danger zone you're never gonna be able to see? Behind the bus. You will never be able to see that. You've got your student mirror that, yeah, you can sort of see out your back windows, I know, but that's not gonna give you everything. So, your danger zones are 10 feet in front of the bus. Why 10 feet in front of the bus? Yep, you've got little kids that you can't see, so that's why we have those crossing arms and why we say they have to work before you go out on route. Those stick out 10 feet in front of your bus to keep kids walking out as far as you can see. If your mirrors are set correctly, you should be able to see 12 feet out in front of your bus just with the mirrors alone. "10 feet on the right side or your door side. 10 feet out from there, especially near the rear duals. 6 feet out on the left side. Why only 6 feet on the left side? That's about the width of the lane of traffic next to you. And from the duals back. So if your mirrors are set correctly, you should be able to see all of these zones except directly behind your bus. How many people have adjusted their mirrors yet this year? A few of you? Okay. Have any of you gone out and used the mirror station this year to see if you can see everything you're supposed to? So, I know I've gone over it before, but we'll go over it again, is we have the cones that are strung together. Everybody did it last year, so for those of you that are new, you haven't seen them, but the cones are tied together to make it easy for you guys to go out there and set them up anywhere in the parking lot. So you should be able to see all of the dots in front of you with the crossover mirrors. Depending on which crossover mirror you're looking at. If you're looking at your right side, you should be able to see the 12-foot A dot that's on there. And then you should be able to see the 6-foot dot O and almost, if not the P, by the rear duals. That 12-foot mark over exceeds that 10-foot, so you should be able to see your danger zone and then some. Why do we make sure that we can see all of these areas? Don't hit anybody or anything, or if students are walking alongside your bus. What if you get a kid that is, if you're dropping off, how many of you are counting off your students as they go off the bus? have to. You gotta pay attention to where your kids go. Cause if somebody drops something and it goes under the bus and you lose a student, they don't know better, they're gonna try and grab their item before you run it over. Make sure they know that if they drop something under the bus, they need to come back to the door and tell you that there's something under the bus. Your top mirrors, your flat ones, should see minimal side of the bus and 200 feet back. Those mirrors are specifically for seeing your lanes of traffic. Those are not for seeing students. They shouldn't be seeing a ton of the bus with those. That is so that you guys can tell if you guys are able to change lanes without hitting somebody. I've gotten into a few of them in the past, not recently, but in the past, where they can see almost the whole side of the bus. That's not helping you when you're trying to change lanes. Your crossovers and your convex lower mirrors are the ones that you wanna set so that you can see all of your danger zones. If a student runs, so I got a couple of questions for you guys just to see. If a student runs after the bus, what should you do? Stop, and then what? Hit the lights, let the student on, but then you need to talk to the student. Chasing after the bus is just as dangerous. You should not have anybody chasing after the bus. Oh, Mary brought that one up already. Apparently we've addressed all the questions already, so. I talked them over already and didn't even pay attention. Alright, so we're gonna go over, crossing students, cause this has been a common point of emails we've gotten this year, is parents concerned about students crossing in front of the bus. It's always a common concern, but this year it seems to be the hot topic. So, when you guys have your students, they need to cross in front of the bus. As they get off the bus, they need to make sure that they need to wait for you before they cross. They should not just be willy-nilly walking in front of the bus just because you're stopped. They should be waiting at the curb for you to give them the signal. Then, as they get to the edge of your bus, before they walk out to the lane of traffic, have them stop. I know, that's gonna delay you. Have them stop, look both ways, and have them check with you again. Why? In case traffic's coming and somebody blows through it from the last time that you went through. We've actually had a couple of emails where that's exactly what happened, or the parent just got to the other side of the sidewalk and a car blew through. So make sure that they're doing a double check before they start to cross that lane of traffic. If you see anything in your mirrors, make sure that they know the signal to stop. Lay on the horn, let them know. The driver may not stop. The one we got that they emailed us about, the driver didn't realize they blew through the stop sign until they saw the line of cars behind it and were about 3 cars through. They were past the bus by the point that the time they realized they blew through the stop sign, because they stopped in the middle of the traffic at that point. Pointless for them to stop, but they stopped. And make sure, especially with your high school and middle school kids, I know they're old enough to cross, but make sure they're not looking at their cell phones as they're trying to cross the road.
That's the
I know they're
worst.
addicted to them.
They are, they
Especially when they get off of school in the
Yep.
afternoon, like.
Yes, in the
They don't
afternoon
even hear
especially.
you because they
Kid
have their
almost
earbuds.
ran into me
I
when I
know.
was putting the lift down.
If they're doing that, talk to them about it. If they're not listening, then we do a UOR or something, we get the school involved and talk to them, because it is a danger, it's a hazard to them. We talk to the parents and explain it to them. We had one bus route,
Can
where-
we have the teachers, can you tell the teachers not to cross? Make them walk on the crosswalk because the teachers are cutting in
Yeah.
front, in between the two
is this
buses
at the high school?
at
Yeah.
the high school.
It's
Setting a bad
unbelievable.
example.
Yeah,
It's
I mean,
just-
like, how can
We'll
you
talk
tell
to the
the
high
kids to
school
do
about
it?
They're
it.
too lazy.
No, we'll talk to the high school about it, because Steve, I'm gonna use you as an example real quick.
I appreciate all help.
Steve had a problem earlier this year where the parents would wait with their kids and cross behind the bus once Steve left the stop. Every day it was happening. We finally sent an email to all the parents that we wanna set a good example. The next day, it was like a whole new world out there and everybody waited for Steve to cross them in front of the bus. But we will. They get the point when you start telling them that it's for safety purposes and we're trying to set a good example for the kids on how to do this. This is why we make sure that we know our process of crossing the kids and why we get our mirrors set correctly. So that we make sure these kids don't get hurt. Any questions? Ben?
It's illegal to pull into the intersection when you have your red lights on and you're about to, when you're about to open the door and let the kids out. Can you, because it's a very wide four-way intersection, and you get cars sometimes that come through and blow out the, stop arm, the red lights, can you pull into the intersection a little bit to make yourself more visible and then open the door?
We're not supposed to be blocking the intersection with the bus. That,
You wouldn't be blocking, anything but, maybe a third of the first lane.
I would still say no, because that comes from the police officers, that you're not supposed to be blocking the intersection, even though we're stopping to pick up kids. So that's why we try to get everybody going to the south, well, depends which direction you're coming from, but the corner prior to the intersection. Cause if you go to the sidewalk on the opposite side, now your tail's hanging out, blocking the entire intersection.
Yeah.
Got it, but if there's no
I wouldn't be
sidewalk,
blocking by any stretch of the imagination, I'd be just impeding into the intersection a little bit so the bus is more visible to people.
No,
Need to know.
unfortunately, it's
Too
a
much
no.
common sense
We're
there.
breaking the law at that point, we're blocking an intersection. I know it's only a little bit, but a little bit is still a little bit, no, it's a valid question. But unfortunately, the answer is no, we can't block the intersection any amount. Any other questions? Mark?
Can we be in the crosswalk, especially with winter coming, if your door lined up with the sidewalk, if you do that, you're in the crosswalk.
If you're going to pull up to where, so this is where the book and what the state, or what the regulations say, and what's practical vary. If the rules say you're supposed to stop 10 feet before the students, which if we all did that, that'd mean most of them are walking through the grass or snow. If you're going to pull up to the sidewalk where they're at, or the driveway, make them stand 6 feet back, away from the curb. This is cause if they're roughhousing, doing whatever, there's no chance of them ending up in front of your bus. That's that whole safety reason is why they want you to stop 10 feet back. So yes, when it's snowing out, yeah, you can pull up there, but make sure the kids know they need to stand back farther. Not right up on the curb. I know they like to line up and try and race to see who's gonna be the first one on, but we're also not gonna expect them to walk through the mound of snow that the plows just put down, so. Any other questions? Questions on anything at all? Anything else for them? Pulling the bus over. So, if you have to pull your bus over for a discipline reason, say your kids are being unruly, they're standing up, whatever, and you need to pull the bus over, call it in and let us know you're pulling over for discipline. Let us know. We had a complaint last week that a parent thought we were stopping in the middle of the road and just sitting there doing nothing. The driver, we watched the video, and the driver at hand, they did pull over, they were not in the middle of the road, but they did stop and they just sat. And I get their intention behind it. What do you think they were trying to do by just sitting and waiting? Getting the kids to calm down. It half worked. A lot of the kids started asking, what are they doing? But the kids screwing around didn't stop. They were still screwing around in the back of the bus. So if you're going to pull the bus over for discipline, make sure you address the students. Let them know why you're pulling over and that we're not continuing until everybody is safe. There's nothing wrong with pulling over. It works great in the afternoon because everybody wants to get home. All they want is to get home so they can go play. Now they're being held up because of a couple of kids. But make sure you're talking to them about it and you're pulling completely over. And put your hazards on when you do it. You're letting traffic know. If you have to get out of the seat to address the students, shut the bus off. It doesn't matter. I'd rather have the alarm going off because you're dealing with a discipline situation than have a kid end up in the driver's seat playing with buttons or whatever. Any questions on that?
I would say too, I don't know if buses pulling over all over the place. This is extreme, where you try other measures. You try talking with the students at the school. You try doing UOR so administration can come out and talk to the students. You know, and they're just wound up that day for some reason. And it become a safety issue. And then you can pull over and get it under control.
It works amazing.
It does.
They
It does
really
work.
want their kids to behave and they'll tell them, get it together so we can go home.
That's exactly how that bus was.
Sure, because they wanna go home, yeah.
That bus, the driver that pulled over, as soon as they found out why they were pulled over, they all harped on the kids that were misbehaving because they wanted to get home.
If you haven't already, I know we brought this up, in the past meetings, if you're not working with the students to get the bus under control, you have to start. Cause we are pulling videos, just to make sure, because we get a lot of complaints, you know, that the students are out of control. And any administrator can go on now and watch video. So if they're getting complaints, they can pull some videos up and start watching and, you know, say, why are, don't hate me, Heartland, I'm just using you guys as an example. Why are the Heartland buses so bad? You know, so, just know that if you have not started already, which you should have. And I think that's our biggest complaint, elementary. Please, get to know what the students' names are and get them in their assigned seats. And, get the bus under control.
Any questions? Alright, you're free to go.